permit me to speak frankly and use my foul language sometimes. It would be an act of foolishness to assume that is, so long as you have an accused in court and his defense lawyer, that's enough. It is not. The law is not about accused persons only. The law is about the country. It's about everybody. I am apologetic to my learned colleague, the prosecutor, that I have not had an occasion to speak to him about this. But even if the police are evacuated now, what they have done is so gross that it cannot help us to cool down and have a coherent, sensible defense or defense hearing or prosecution hearing. I am urging Your Honor to adjourn this matter almost indefinitely, or to give us a mention date somewhere in January or February. Then we will take. Yes, so that we can then reflect and deal with the misconduct of the state. But more importantly, I think you need to summon the commandant of the National Police Service of Nakuru County to come to court and explain why he has deployed hundreds of police officers in military fatigue to intimidate citizens, including people who are walking along the streets going to do their businesses. They would have stopped me from going to buy my shirt. Thankfully, by the way, I bought a new shirt. Yeah, they are intimidating people who are walking on the streets, either coming to court or going elsewhere. Can you imagine that there are other courts? You are not the only court sitting today. There are other courts here whose customers are being stopped from coming back here. But more important is that some of your customers who are part of the accused persons, and you have read their names, have been stopped from accessing the court. What rubbish is that? Where is this country going? How can we go back to 1960 or 1952 or 1982 or 1990? How can we go back there? You are bound by the provisions of this Constitution, Article 49, which says every arrested person has a right to be informed promptly in a language that person understands, the reason of arrest, the right to remain silent, and the consequences of not remaining silent. Article 50 provides, is more explicit. I don't want to read, I'm sure there is a presumption that every lawyer and the magistrate is a lawyer, has read the law or will read the law. So I will leave it to you to go and read it. I think this matter cannot proceed. And if it does not, you direct that it proceeds in spite of my submission, I will promise you, as an officer of this court and with reference to your authority as a magistrate of this court, I will not come and sit here and countenance the misbehavior of the state against the accused persons whom we represent. I will walk away. They will have a right to look for another lawyer if they want, or you will make your directions. But that's not a threat. It's a promise. Thank you.
Your Honor, Kenya is a democracy, governed by the rule of law and due process. We consulted in the morning and reached an agreement with Mr. Maina. We walked all the way to the gate and spoke to the judge. I witnessed that. And we agreed with Mr. Maina and the court administrator that they create two courts. I think because of logistics, they created two courts to allow people to come in. What is surprising is that even after doing that, Then the following were arrested as they were trying to access to court. Julius Kanene Boche, Jason Macharia Muriri, Julius Kanene Boche, Jason Macharia Muriri, James Ghana Mwangi. Number 1 is Julius Kanene Boche. Number 2 is Jason Macharia Muriri. Number 3 is James Ghana Mwangi. Number 4 is James Maina Mwangi. Number 5 is a young man who assists me in my office called Simon Mbugwa Waitira. They are in police custody. They cannot access court. In addition, 2 or 3 accused persons are not present because when we broke, four. When we went out to arrange the logistics, they went to take a cup of water and then they were restrained. So this is an emerging issue because we are dealt with the issue initially and they concluded that we are proceeding. Now, it is emerging that the police are so determined because as we went out, and Mr. Munga can bear me witness, there are 2 police vehicles that have blocked this road. One on the southern side and the one on the north, where you cannot access the road technically because they have blocked the road. So, Your Honor, these constitutional provisions that have been read to you by my learned colleague, particularly Article 48 of the Constitution, are not just paper aspirations. They are not just declarations. It is our Constitution. And if you look at the Article 3.2 of the Constitution, it is very clear that each one of us has a duty to uphold the Constitution and defend it. When you look at the preamble, Your Honor, so that we are all on the same page, you look at the preamble, it is very clear. It states that recognizing the aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on the essential values of human dignity, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law. That is our aspiration. The aspiration that we are governed by the law, so that all of us are subject of the law. But we are now beginning to see that the police are the law into themselves, because they are defying the court, they are defying the lawyers, they are defying themselves. So they are defying everybody. So we wonder which kind of state is this. And any state officer, Your Honor, no matter how high ranking they are, who are advocating for this kind of anarchy that we are seeing out here, that officer should never be a public officer in 2027. And our cries will be heard by God that these state officers who are using impunity and the political power to harass others, they will be dealt with by Kenyans in 2027.
If not earlier.
So, Your Honor, I rest my case and I pray that can the police allow us to practice and proceed with our case, because we came here to hear the case. But the police are preventing us from proceeding with the case.
On one aspect, then we shall leave the court to make a determination. One, granted the level of intimidation that we have experienced and we have been experienced, we press the court to make an order that police officers should not appear before this court armed. Yesterday, this morning, Police Officer Constable Eric Maina came to court armed. When they appear before this, you and the owner, they don't appear as police officers, they appear as witnesses. Number two, Your Honor, note that our clients were not before you in the morning. And not that they're not within the reach of this court. They are still within the reach of this court. But the police have barred them to appear before you. So they are basically frustrating the hearing. While we are so eager, determined, vigor, and ready to proceed. You know, this is only you who can rescue us from this ignominious disrespect, violation, transgressions, intimidations of this nature. Nobody says, I want to become a tyrant. They